Cool.
So, what is the leading cause of death for Americans under the age of 35? The graph is, it turned black instead of white, but you can still see that the first leader is the leader by a very large margin. So it is not heart disease, cancer, contagious disease, or any of these causes of accidental death, which included like drowning, poisoning, or fire. It is actually motor vehicle traffic collisions. And so what is it about traffic collisions that makes this death toll so high, especially for young Americans? To understand this, we must take a closer look at the emergency response processes that are in place right now. So right now, the processes are split up into 3 intervals after a crash. First is from crash to notification of emergency personnel. Second is notification to arrival on the crash scene. And third is arrival to occupant removal or extinguishment of fire. The first interval of crash to notification is what we are trying to improve. So as of now, the average time it takes to remove someone, or to notify 911 that someone is in danger is 3.9 minutes in urban areas. In rural areas, it is nearly double this, 7.4 minutes.
So even if you exclude the people who were killed upon impact, how many of the people who were found dead upon arrival could have been saved? So in this case, do we want to rely on random passerby to call 911 for the victim who might be in serious condition or is unconscious to call 911? No. So here's the problem. 6 in 10 remote area motorcycle accidents that lead to fatality or serious injury happen in isolation, meaning they were traveling by themselves and it did not involve someone else. Rather, it involved hitting an inanimate object like a tree or some road conditions like kind of a slipperiness or some kind of a potholes that they trip over. So this is a huge problem, and how do we do this?
And so the thing is, when you're alone and you're knocked unconscious in one of these crashes, no one is there to call for help. And so, of course, this is not just the leading cause of death in the US, but worldwide. From people who are ages 15 to 29, in every single other country, it is also the leading cause of death. So these are not simply impersonal numbers that we found on cdc.gov or saw in a documentary. A few minutes can make a huge difference to a mother's son who just went out to buy a bike, or my roommate's father who likes to go for long drives in the mountains on the weekends.
So what is our solution? Our solution is called Northstar. It comprises of 2 components, a software component and the hardware component. So if you see right there, the device is about size of a quarter, and it can connect to your smartphone through Bluetooth. So it utilizes a device that the motorist already has. And it's a small add-on that can be attached to your favorite helmet. So the motorist doesn't have to buy a new helmet and just keep the same favorite helmet, and meaning the person doesn't have to spend extra money to buy a $1,000 helmet that is very high-tech.
Yes, and there were several obstacles we had to consider before coming up with this prototype. The first was human behavior. We didn't want habits that have been ingrained in their lives for a while, such as speeding, to have to be the thing that has to be changed in order to make the difference at the end. So we accounted for human behavior by having the prototype be something that they can add on and just forget about. The second thing we considered was cost. We didn't want price to be a limiting factor to anyone who wanted access to this. And so it is more affordable than every other option out on the market right now. And so yeah, that was our solution that we came up with. So the way it works is Northstar is composed of inputs and outputs. So the first input is from the accelerometer. So the accelerometer reading from the device itself, which is attached to the helmet, is coordinated with the reading from one smartphone accelerometer. So we have 2 points, 2 readings that we can use and coordinate with each other to make sure that there are no false alarms or false positives. So what we're looking for is a sudden sharp spike in inertia, and this is what we see. And that would indicate that both of them have been going from perhaps 80 miles an hour and have stopped suddenly to 0. So this would indicate that there had likely been an accident.
So second component to the device is the pressure sensor. So upon impact, so there's a pressure sensor embedded in the device, and what it does is it detects kinetic energy applied on it. So upon impact, what happens is the critical mass of kinetic energy is built up, and it detects and combine that with the accelerometer. That's how we know that an accident has occurred, and it eliminates all the false positives. And the next one is the temperature sensor. It comes with the temperature sensor, so if there's a vehicle fire nearby, it picks up that huge difference in temperature, and as a result, we can tell the dispatchers, hey, there's a vehicle fire burning nearby this victim, so send fire trucks to the location immediately.
And so now that we have this information, how do we make sure that the outputs are useful to those on the receiving end? Well, so what happens is the hardware conveys this vital information to via Bluetooth module to the smartphone app, which then contacts our server. And so we've been talking to physics professors, physicists, and they've helped us develop some algorithms that allow us to determine what is the impact threshold needed to make sure that, yes, this is a positive accident, and also some other various certain conditions that have to be met in order for us to make that automated call. And so the app sends a voice message to the nearest 911 dispatcher with GPS coordinates, fire presence, and impact severity. And so the GPS coordinates is the main reason why we decided to call this Northstar, because we wanted the emergency personnel to always be able to find their way to the victim. Okay, and so how do we control for false alarms, which is when the device is activated, but there has not been an accident? The app shows up with a confirmation button and also a 15-second countdown. And if the person is indeed unconscious or seriously injured, they won't be able to stop the call for help.
So how did we, so Sunmee and I, and we have another partner called Justin Chen. He was a computer engineer. So we were just a group of friends, and how do we move this idea from just a concept in our head to an actual product, and that led to a startup. So we were actually, so when we heard about people's tragic accidents on the road, we started looking for some solutions to help ending this tragedy. And what we found was, surprisingly, a lot of expensive products that are not portable, meaning it alienates a lot of people. So we started looking for more, but then we couldn't find anything that would be available for the mass. So we said, well, let's try to create one. And then we said, well, if you were able to create, so we made this product and said, if you were able to create this product, then why didn't someone else create this? And we said, if you were to optimize this process, then we can sort of, then let's make it into an actual product and start deploying to people. So a lot of people believe that if they want to start a company, they think they have to move to either New York, Boston, or San Francisco Bay Area. But the truth is, wherever you are, you can start creating values right now.
Right. And so before we started this, we had previously thought that, you know, to make a new product, you have to create something completely from scratch, like do the metal work yourself, wire the circuit board yourself. But really, if you improve a part of the process, which can lead to a different outcome, a better outcome, then you are able to use, you know, development kits, things that other people have already created and tested in your product and still call it your own. And so, let's see, how can, you know, anyone else get started creating their product? First, that always comes research. So firsthand market research and reports you can find online.
Second,
And so you want to seek an understanding of the technical aspects behind your product and also the underlying fundamentals so that you can improve upon what's already there. Second, you want to do firsthand market research, which means basically talking to potential customers. There are a few ways that you can make this easier on yourself. For example, what we found was that you can go talk to salespeople who are waiting for customers in stores. They're always willing to have a conversation. Also, we found couples are typically more approachable than an individual who's rushing down the street trying to get somewhere. And so while conducting this market research, you can also start learning the skills that are necessary to take your product to completion, such as like web or app programming, food packaging, or using a sewing machine. Whatever it may be, you should try to become as close to an expert in it as you can.
And then what you want to do next is start planning. So for the planning phase, you want to start working on what is called the business model canvas. So business model canvas allows you to visually draw out your, visually map out your idea. And then what you want to do is start creating. So just create a blueprint, mock-up, or wireframe, and start thinking about how you can create this product. So after that, you want to create this minimum viable product. And for this minimum viable product, you want to have the core features that are necessary for deployment. And after you create your MVP, what you want to do is carefully select pool of first customers who can give you valuable feedback, and create an MVP reduces the total time spent on development. And another critical thing is find the co-founder. A co-founder can help you when you're in hardship, and he can help you get to the idea on track.
Yes, and one more thing that is not normally mentioned, in addition to the MVP, the minimum viable product, you might also want to think about creating a co-founder attracting product, or CAP. And so this is basically to attract the talent and skills that you might yourself be lacking, especially technical and financial skills. And so once you have that, you've proven to them, yes, I have something of value to add to this project, and now I've proven that I'm worthwhile to be joined by another team. And so what we want to say to you is to just think about that idea that you had yesterday or a week ago or months ago, and bring it up again with your friends today, and see how you can take it from an idea to reality.
And then the final thing is, what if your idea is already out there? Then think about if you can make it better. So it could be creating a more appealing design, or changing product characteristics to tailor to a niche customer segment, or finding more affordable materials to lower cost. These are some of the ways that you can use to find your place in the market. Thank you.
Thank you.